All right, this is gonna be no intro, hard opening, straight into it. So we have here a clarinet. Guess what kind? Well, let's see if you're right. You get 2 seconds. This is a Silmer Series 10. It's a clarinet, as far as I know. On first inspection, it's a little dirty. You got some patina here and there. These are silver-plated keys, so they're plated with silver, as you know. Just looks not too bad. I'm gonna take everything out, toss this to the side. So, with a clarinet, you may know 4 pieces. There's 4 pieces here. You have the upper joint, lower joint, the barrel, the bell. The bell is green. Should not be green normally. That's fine. So, if you want to follow along, if you're taking apart a clarinet, that's fine. What you're going to need, screwdriver and a block. I made this block myself. Just go along, follow along. You see any hinge rods, any pivot screws, just make sure you put it as such. I don't know, it's fine. Either way, when I'm taking apart a clarinet, what I like to do is I unscrew everything first. Let me make sure. And as I unscrew things, I look at the posts of the clarinets and the hinge rods to see if anything's seized, anything's frozen. You can tell a lot by a clarinet's, how would I say, cleanliness? I don't know. You can tell a lot from how a hinge rod comes out or unscrews, whether it's dirty or not. If you have to put a lot of force, if you don't have to put a lot of force, you can just get how a clarinet's going to be. This one doesn't seem to be too difficult. The more torque you can put into a clarinet, the more you know it's going to be a pain. Now, disclaimer, I am not a clarinet player. I play trombone, or played trombone, and that's fine. You don't have to be an expert to fix instruments. There goes that key. But, you know, just take apart the keys. All fine, all hunky-dory. It's important, and dare I say crucial, that you don't bend any of the hinge rods as you take them out. So with the key that fell off, that's the 80 ring key. Ask me what note it is, I couldn't tell you. So this one is held together by a pivot screw that I put in here. And with the F sharp ring key, there is a kind of pivot screw on the end. It's not really a screw, it's part of the hinge rod, as I'll show you in a second. And, you know, it is what it is. I don't know. But either way, so this key is joined with that key. I don't know, it's simple. It's just simple. See, so you got the hinge rod as you'd normally have. You have some threads, and then you have this pivot on the end. So it's pointy. It's not too sharp. You're not going to poke yourself with it. If you do, sorry. But you just pull straight out, straight up, straight out. And if you need to twist, make sure you're twisting like that. You don't want to like yank it, just along it. Like, I don't know how to say it. You'll find out I don't know how to say a lot of things, but you know, I'm showing you. And for me, as long as monkey see, monkey can do, right? So hopefully some of you are monkey doers. That's fine. And so, I don't know if any of you have caught on, but I forgot to unscrew one. Oops. And that's fine. You know, it doesn't have to come out, you know, all at the same time. You can do your own process if you'd like. My process is just I unscrew everything. I forgot to do that one. Oops. And so I went to school at Redmond. We made this. Don't look at that. Oops. But, you know, what they say is you start from the top, work your way down, then go to this side, work your way down, go up, go up. For me, I just unscrew everything. I unscrew everything. And, you know, you have to know the names to put some of these things here. That's fine. And what you'll see here, there's these smaller holes on some keys. Most keys, almost all keys, have a flat spring and a screw. So you put that screw in there. The flat spring could go in there or whatever. It's fine. But you have to be conscious of that when you're cleaning them. And I don't know if I'll show the cleaning or not. By the way, this is a Knipix, however you want to pronounce it. I really don't know what... It's a wrench. I don't know, whatever. But I find this to be a lot better than your standard pliers. That's what they're called, flat nose pliers. This isn't the duckbill or anything. This is just normal Music Medic, I think. Flat pliers. Now, these aren't bad. These aren't bad whatsoever. You just... I don't know. I feel like there's a lot more slippage on them. You have to put a lot more force into it. And that's not bad. Not by any means. To each their own. But for me personally, I just like this. There's a lot more grabbing power. You got tension. I don't know. It just feels better. Plus, you know, it helps that, you know, although this is textured, I like the grip of this better. But that's neither here nor there. You don't have to have the most expensive tools. You don't have to have the prettiest tools. For me, it's always been function over form. This was given to me. This is older than me. I am 22, and this is older than me. And it's been passed down 2 generations now. And it works really well. So as long as what you have works, that's fine. As long as it's not ruining the instrument, not, you know, not messing with anything, you know, do whatever you want to do. So this is the upper joint taken apart. And doink. So as you can tell, we have quite a bit of grime, dirt. That's dead skin and other yuckies from the previous owner. No offense if you see your instrument on this show, this channel. Feel bad. You should be ashamed. I'm joking. But you can also see on the posts how there's some things to be done there, and you can address these later on, and I'll show you how. But first things first, you got your upper joint undone, and you can just, you have access to the posts, you have access to the body, and we'll clean that out. Now, something you can do to clean it out, what's this? A toothbrush, that's right. I'm not a sponsor yet, but you just get this, and let me see if I got it here. It's across the way, so that stinks. Here. I'm not gonna open it yet, but I use this. This is really good. You don't need a lot, and it comes in a pack of 2, or maybe I got 2, I don't know. But this will last you a long time, and it works really, really well. So I recommend this bore oil if you're gonna use it. And if you're going to clean your clarinet, say you don't want to, you know, wipe it down, brush it, any of that, you can just leave it as is. A lot of the time, some people will use Dawn. Now, Dawn dries out wood, and dry clarinet is not a good clarinet. Well, according to who you ask. Also, as you notice, this people can call it the pib, the nipple, whatever you want to call it. This has some green on that, and we'll address that later. But all in all, pretty good clarinet. Can look down the bore. Y'all can't see, but it doesn't look too bad. So that's the upper joint. Let's just move those to the side. That's the upper joint. Move that. You know what? Just real quick, I'll just show you. Here's a toothbrush. That's it. That's it right there. That's your bread and butter. Sometimes you can even get some of that green off with the toothbrush. It doesn't look as good, but better than before, I'd say. And you just brush. I have a different tool that I like to use to clean, and I will gatekeep it because I don't want any of you learning about it. But potentially it'll make an appearance. And you know what? Not too bad. Like I said, could look better, could look worse. Wow, okay, well, that was surprising to see. So this is for a liar. Whatever. Wow. That is supposed to be silver. But we'll come back to that. Either way. So the lower joint, I think, is easier. It really is easier than the upper joint. As you look at the upper joint, you have all these rods and everything. The lower joint's mostly pivot screws, that's what they're called. So you got four, I think you have four rods. You have this one, which connects the A-B, or A-flat, E-flat, and the F-C, I believe. Like I said, not a player. I just know this one's low, this one's higher, this one's lower, that one's lower, whatever. And so you have this one that connects two keys, and then you have these two for the levers. You also have this one, which is the BF sharp, if I'm not mistaken. And those are the only ones you really have to worry about. Sometimes on certain clarinets, you do get the pivot screws on both sides. This one happens to be a just very long hinge rod. So, you know, I prefer the ones that are rods. As you can tell, I have a hole for the rods, not for the pivot screws. I have other blocks that I have that do have the hole for the, or the secondary hole for the pivot screws, but on this one I don't, because I knew it was gonna be a rod. So, same thing, well, I lied. It's not the same thing as before. For this, you're gonna have to leave some of the pivot screws on. Why that is, the stupid people who like to design things, I'm joking, they make it so that you have to take certain things off. So there's certain things in the way. So if I try to take both screws off, I'll have to press that down, press this one down, and then potentially go across this, and you see metal on metal. That's not too good, I don't think. So sometimes you just have to leave it on. In this one, you would just go top to bottom. That's fine. Like I said, as long as you find your process, what works for you, as long as the instrument comes out better than it was before, that's what matters. Now, also, sometimes you'll have a stubborn rod, and it's not seized and it's not rusted. All you have to do is push against the spring. So, forgot to mention, most of these keys have springs on them, and the springs keep things in place. They also help spring things open or closed. This one was sprung closed, like so, more or less, and press down on the touch piece, goes up. Once you start unscrewing, the post and the threads of the rod will shift. So the spring will still be applying tension and it'll shift it away so you're not able to pull straight out. So sometimes you'll just have to push against the spring to keep it in place and then just pull it straight out. And that's something some people forget, but it's not the end of the world if you do. It's only the end of the world if you if you bend the rod. And bending the rod is not the end of the world either, but I've bent a couple rods here and there, and unless you have the right tools for the job, it'll be a headache. And well, hopefully I've spared you a headache. If you're following along, it's too late for you. I'm sorry. I'm joking. So these, on this clarinet, you have the pins. I like to call them pins, and they for the levers, and they go into the keys. The keys on the other side. You can kind of see. I'm using my phone, but either way, certain clarinets will not have the pins. They'll have cork. I don't know why this one has cork, but they'll have cork on the bottom and then on the top. And then these will just be an arm that go on top of the touch pieces, not the touch pieces, the key itself. That's fine. I just find those to be very annoying because you have different thicknesses of cork and different, you have to bend some keys. You got to break a few eggs to make an omelet, right? And for those, you break a lot of eggs. I made a couple omelets, but I've broken more eggs than I've made omelets. And that's, I've read about that. I don't know. But as we continue, same thing with N. Something I forget to mention. I'm just forgetful. This is a needle spring hook. And so you can tell maybe that there is a hook right there. Little hook that you can pull. This is for slightly larger springs. I use this one more often than not. You can kind of see there, it's got a very, very tiny push hook. Let me see if I can get my fingernail under. See? So you can push, and then on the other side, you can pull. So say you didn't want to go through what we went through up here. You could just unspring them, like so. Just pull, and boom. Simple. Let's see. Nothing on here is going to look good. I apologize. But everyone starts from somewhere, right? If you can't get from it, I like to go from up top. If you can't get from up top, you can go below and just give it a pull. And there you go. Well, maybe not. I lied. There. You can't, I don't know if you can tell or not, but it is off the cradle, you could call it. And let's see if that, oh, wow, how about that, huh? So, you have different ways of doing everything. And I really don't know what this is supposed to be. I don't know if this is me showing you what I'm doing or me telling you if you want to do something. I'll leave it up to your interpretation. But in case you're wanting to learn, I'll just run you through. This is a key. A key usually has a touch piece and a pad cup. Pad cups hold pads, of course. And usually, in most cases, you will have cork. Some people use felt. I use felt. So cork it acts as a silencer and as a spacer. If you want the pad to be higher or lower, you would add more or less cork. This one, it doesn't really matter because the height of this depends on the levers. And as you can tell, this lever has some cork. So let's just pretend to put it on. The cork is against the body and it rises this lever up, which in turn, see, this lever rises up. It raises this key, which makes the overall height lower. Wow. Who'd have thought, huh? But, and for those sharp-eyed people, this is, I don't know what this is. Some type of maybe Teflon or plastic, some kind of plastic to reduce the clinking sound that happens with these metal pins. Buffet, they like to use a plastic or in some cases carbon fiber pins. These ones are metal. So that's neat, right? Either way, all we're left with this clarinet is pivot screws. So, as I said before, you could get to this one down here. You could do that, or just take apart these. And same thing with this one. You can take this apart. I don't want to force anything right now, so I'm not going to. But we'll just start. And see, oh, what's this? I took off a screw and I can't take it out? Well, sometimes you have to take it off one at a time. And hopefully you're not in a rush, so take your time. What's another second or two gonna hurt? It shouldn't hurt. Well, if you're commissioned, maybe you can't afford that second or two. But the keys are going to get off one way or another. That's not the right hole. There we go. And I picked that up. Everything's going to shit. Oops. No. So, it's... a lot of people make it out to be harder than it is. It's not. As long as you keep track of... Well... can't keep track of that if a screw falls down. Well. And here's the great thing. There's replacement parts for everything. That's fine. We'll continue taking it apart. I'll look for it in a second. And now that I took apart this section down here, I can return back up here to the bis key, 3-ring key. Guess why it's called the 3-ring key? I'll give you a second. That's right. There's 3 rings. Whoa, 3 of them. So we'll wrap this up with another. Well, this is a lever. It's not a key. So the difference between levers and keys is levers have no pad cup, no pad. So this is a key. This is also a key. This is a lever. This is also a lever. The exception, this is the thumb ring. You could call it a lever, I suppose, but doesn't look like it. Either way, that's how you take apart a Slemmer, a Selmer Series 10. Pretty neat. It's a clarinet. It's a clarinet like any other. Well, mechanically, it's the same. You got the same thing in most clarinets. So there's pads, and in the pads that help seal around the hole, you can have bladder. These are bladder pads. And so bladder pads, they usually use fish skin, lamb intestine skin. Sometimes you'll have leather, and that's kid leather. Kid is another word for little goat, a goat child. But this one is bladder. And so bladder is usually fish bladder, or like I said, lamb bladder. And within that, what am I doing? Let me just show you. So I'm gonna take it off. Boom. Wow. So, because I don't care. What am I doing? Here. I'm just gonna cut this one in half So, all right. Turns out I'm the worst. Don't watch my videos. Okay, now, oh my God. All right, we're gonna do it different. We're gonna go bigger. All right. Okay, this looks better. We shall see if it cuts better. That felt good. Okay, there we go. So, as you can see, you have the bladder. Here's the bladder skin that goes around the entire pad. And then you usually have cardboard backing. I lied. I so lied. It's the bladder skin, then the felt, pressed or woven, could be either of the two, and then your cardboard backing. And I'll just rip it open. See? It's just cardboard backing. It's nothing. Gone in seconds. And there's different types. As I mentioned, you have leather. You also have cork. Cork pads are real, unfortunately. I do not care for them. Well, lots of people will tell you different things about these different pads. One thing I will tell you is I have a certain type of pad, not yet on the market, but this is a different type, we'll just say. And so I'm gonna take everything by storm. Neither here nor there, but that's how we take apart a clarinet. In the next one, I'll show you how to take off the pads and stuff. We'll see. Yay!